Hi, I'm Luke Searveld. Welcome to another episode of Meet the Gaffer. Just wanted to talk real briefly about where we are, another update. Here we are in Northern California. Everything seems to be, pretty chill, but we're still sheltering in place. We've got at least another month before we decide what to do next. And yeah, there's other parts of the country that are opening up. There's other parts of the world. We'll learn from them. And we're just not quite there yet. That's fine for me, but that's a little difficult for others. People who don't have the means to just hang out, don't have a spouse that's full-time working from home. Yeah. Or if you're in a more confined space, it's wearing on a lot of people. Now, as far as what we're going to be doing, getting back, there's a number of different documents out there that I've gotten some of the same documents from different people. Just kind of bullet points, figuring out on a big production, what are the different departments going to do? Or sort of the pod approach. It's like, you've got hair and makeup and administration, they're in a pod. And then you've got production, and then you've got post, whatever it is. And so, you've got the actors that have to go between the pods. Yeah, there's lots of different ways of thinking through this. Do you take your whole crew and quarantine them ahead of time and then do your production? And yeah, it's like a jury system kind of almost for a high profile trial. So yeah, lots of different ways of thinking through this. I think for me on the smaller jobs where you would have had 10 people, now you'll have 5. And it's going to be more on the individuals. And so you're going to think about who you're working for. Do you know them? How well did they prepare? How well do you feel about things during pre-production? Is that all sort of solid? Now, there's a local production company here who has sent out a questionnaire for everybody, and I'll link it below. More data is better data. And so yeah, all departments welcome anyone. Put your thoughts in there about what will make you feel safe to be back on set again. That's kind of what, trying to figure that out. That will help to put certain protocols in place. And that's, on a somewhat smaller scale, not necessarily feature or episodic. And so, all that stuff is good. What I'm kind of interested in is the mindset. So similar to this questionnaire, the mindset of people. On the one hand, you have, hey, I'm fine. I know how to be safe. Let's get some personal protective equipment together, some PPE, and have a safety meeting, get a bunch of PAs to open doors and wipe down surfaces that everybody touches, and then let's get to it. Let's roll. And so, that's reasonable. And then on the other hand, you have folks who are like, I really can't go on indefinitely without working. But without sort of a demonstrable escalation of testing and contact tracing, it just doesn't feel right. I mean, how is right now when I'm sheltered in place and feel safe different from going out there tomorrow? Like, what changed? If you don't really see evidence of people saying, we've got this figured out, we know who's got it, we just don't have that information. It's like Governor Cuomo, when asked by a reporter to kind of rebut the folks that were outside protesting, he's like, yeah, I get that you want to go back to work. And you can say that the cure is worse than the disease, but what's worse than death? Like losing your job, is that worse than death? No. Is being holed up with a lot of people in a small apartment, is that worse than death? No. So that's the thinking. It's like, okay, we need to get to these other milestones before we go back, else there's the potential. And to his credit too, he said, again, we're all good with ourselves, but we need to think about others. And that is the tough part. We're just not that good at that. And so you say, okay, great. Blah, blah, blah. People think differently. When can we get back? And could it be today? Right? So I'm thinking three things. And one is we may have to go back to work like Georgia before we get all these other things in place. Maybe the testing, the contact tracing, maybe that's not going to happen. Maybe it's not realistic. I don't know. We just don't have that stuff in place. Federal government's left it to the states. The states don't really have the means. So knowing that, we go back and we know it's coming. There's going to be a second wave if we don't have those other things in place. So then we should get ready for that. This time we don't have the excuse like, oh, I didn't see it coming. No, we can see it coming. So the idea is think ahead. And we can tack onto that global warming because that's coming too. So let's think ahead. Number two, think of others. Kind of touched on that with the Cuomo quote, but I'm also thinking a little deeper than that. This pandemic has kind of exposed the fact that we don't treat the people at the bottom very well. Okay, we kind of knew that, but man, talk about your eyes being opened. I mean, here we can cloister into our homes, but we can still have people deliver stuff. We can still have people, work at the food store. Even paramedics, some don't have health care. It's like we're paying those people poorly. We're, having to get bullied into giving them proper PPE. It's like, it exposes how America is run. And we are running on the backs of people that we are not treating well. And as a production community, when we go back, if we could be more mindful of the production assistants, of the assistants of all the departments, and not just say, okay, we're done here, we're out, you clean it up. It's like, no, they should have just as much time and support as the rest of us. We can't just slough that off. We've got to think through each step and make sure that even the people on the low end of the totem pole are being thoughtfully helped with their work to make sure that they are safe too. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know exactly how that looks, but you got to be there for everybody, I think, is the idea. So we've got to think ahead, think of others. And then the last one, you know how when you're talking to someone about a job coming up and they say, oh, on the second day, we're going to be outside, so we can probably cut a few people. And you're like, oh, wait. Yeah. Maybe if the earth stops turning, so the sun stays in the same place and there's like perfect cloud and the wind doesn't come up after lunch, yeah, that'd be great. We could cut some people. But those things probably aren't going to be true. So we might need more people. Do the rigging, keep things safe, keep watch. Sometimes people are just in backwards land. And I think that's going to happen here as well. We're going to go back and people are like, oh, for safety's sake, we're going to have fewer people and a smaller budget. And you're like, well, nah. Like you might have fewer people on the set, but maybe there's other people, maybe medics get retrained to take temperature, do the swabs or whatever it is. There may be more people. It may take more time, maybe make more days because you've got more to do because you're not getting as much each day. So we may have fewer people, but we may need more time, and that may cost more money. And sort of as a little corollary to that, just the idea of being deliberate. Wouldn't that be nice? Not so rushed. And that might actually make better product. Hey, that could be a good thing. So think ahead, think of others, people over profit. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time. Okay, so here's my little setup, little 2-camera setup. Now, I did have the ATEM Mini Pro set up so that I could switch with the multi-view between the 2 cameras, GH5, GH5S, but I was running it through OBS and it made the Mac so loud that the audio was unusable. So I just turned that all off, recorded in camera, and then had my notes on the iPad, and I'll cut it in post. So yeah, I've got to figure out a quieter way to record. Otherwise, it's not worth it.